Hey everyone, me Kevin here. In this video, I'm going to break down how Democrats on the left are going to respond to Donald Trump's $2,000 stimulus check demand. We also have a letter from Kevin McCarthy, who is going to tell us how Republicans plan to respond. We've got a lot to cover. Let's get into this. Oh, and do remember the courses down below are still on sale through the end of Christmas Day. Use that coupon code for building your wealth. Stocks, real estate, making YouTube videos, you can do it all. And make sure to email me if you want a bundle at kevin@meetkevin.com. It's down there next to the links for life insurance and 4 free stocks you can get with Webull when you deposit $100. Anyway, let's begin. Democrats in the House of Representatives held a caucus call tonight on the plan for the days ahead. Unfortunately, it's relatively similar to what we expected today on the live stream when I made predictions. The House will vote tomorrow on the $2,000 stimulus check. They expect Republicans to object to their unanimous voice vote. When they do, the House will be forced to convene for an emergency session on Monday, the 28th. They have 3 priorities. Number 1, a continuing resolution. We saw this coming. We don't yet know how long this continuing resolution will be. But remember that a continuing resolution is a way of extending the government's budget to prevent a government shutdown. It's possible that the continuing resolution will be for a week. It's likely that the continuing resolution will be for a month. Literally what they're going to do is they're going to try to bypass Donald Trump entirely. To be clear, we don't have a date. We don't know how long this continuing resolution will be. We'll know closer to Monday, I'm sure. But as we expected, when Trump kicked the can back to Congress went right back to kicking the can down the road, or will. Then, number 2, the House is planning a veto override vote on the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. This is going to be very risky. It'll likely pass perfectly along party lines because any Republican who breaks with Trump will be seen as an enemy to Trump and could be shunned by the Republican caucus, which is trying to put forth a united front. This is why Kevin McCarthy says the $2,000 stimulus vote will not pass tomorrow, that there will not be unanimous consent because Republicans will not consent unless they have unanimous agreement to something. We're used to this. That's how the last stimulus bill got done. We had almost all Republicans on board, exception of a few, but most of these bills passed with veto-proof majorities. And in this case, we've already heard numerous Republicans say they will not stand against Donald Trump, and they will not veto a bill that Donald Trump does not agree with unless changes are made. That opens us up back to, well, going back to the drawing board, which is not good. The drawing board in Congress is very, very long. Number 3, Democrats will vote on the amendment to the bill, or potentially a standalone bill to make this amendment, to provide $2,000 stimulus checks. This allows the House to complete their business, aka the House will be able to return from their recess, currently vacation, complete their business on Monday by kicking the can down the road, trying to override the president's veto, and then voting on $2,000 stimulus checks. And then the House can go back home. Unfortunately, this is literally deja vu. Remember when the House passed the HEROES Act on May 15th? It went to Mitch McConnell's desk and died. Remember when the House passed the second HEROES Act that was a little bit smaller on October 1st? Yeah, that went to Mitch McConnell's desk and died. See, with Congress, at least our leadership currently, unless we have a deal before voting on it, the package generally won't happen. Think about how the $600 stimulus check package was passed. Both sides announced that they had reached a deal. And then when they announced they reached a deal, shortly thereafter, they voted on the deal. If the House shows up Monday, steamrolls Republicans to kick the can down the road, symbolically overturn the NDAA, which is going to be just as symbolic as the impeachment was because the Senate is Republican controlled, and without the Senate on board, nothing's going to happen anyway. And voting on a $2,000 stimulus check bill, which right now, the only signal that we have is from Kevin McCarthy, who says, we're not voting for it. Well, we're just loading up Mitch McConnell's desk with more paperweights. Except they're papers, so it's kind of like paperweights. Also, during the filming of this video, we got a letter from Kevin McCarthy that came down the pike. Dear Republican colleagues, Americans have needed relief from the coronavirus and lockdowns for months. House Republicans have attempted to pass relief over 40 times. But each time, Speaker Pelosi has ignored our fellow citizens, saying nothing is better than something. Just a heads up, this is a reference from Kevin McCarthy basically saying, hey, Nancy Pelosi keeps trying to block us from doing a standalone bill. It wasn't for unemployment, it wasn't for stimulus checks, it was for standalone PPP money, generally. Worse than that, by waiting until basically days before Christmas, Speaker Pelosi tried to use the American people as leverage to make coronavirus relief contingent on government funding, which includes billions of dollars in foreign aid at a time when there are urgent needs at home. Keep in mind statements like this, hey, we've got urgent needs at home, why is money going abroad? Why is money going to foreign nations? This is a populist trick. That's because politicians will literally say to your face, oh, no, yeah, we need to focus on at home. Like, why are we spending money abroad? But then behind your back, they spend money on foreign aid all the frickin' time. Take a look at this. I was reading this earlier. This is from the Congressional Research Service. Egypt, background and U.S. relations. I was kind of reading, like, why is money going to Egypt, right? From May 27th. And there's this section here, it's about advancing military times and diplomacy and so on and so forth. This was in May. For 2021, the president is requesting a total of $1.4 billion in bilateral assistance for Egypt. So it's like, we knew this money was going to be spent on foreign affairs, but it just comes at a very politically calamitous time right now because Congress is so stupid that they can't get together on actually truly helping us at home. Like, we got the money to do both, It's not supposed to be a slam on Trump. I'm just saying, like, when they say those things, it's cheap talk. Like, just do both. Anyway. Our government's top priority must be to our families, communities, and small businesses as we get through this pandemic and restore their country. House Democrats appear to be suffering from selective hearing. Oh, that's interesting. They have conveniently ignored the concerns expressed by the president and shared by our constituents that we ought to re-examine how our tax dollars are spent overseas while so many of our neighbors at home are struggling to make ends meet. Okay, this is actually problematic because if Republicans are saying they're going to go line by line through this bill before doing anything, we could kiss the next 30 days goodbye. And I'm not saying they shouldn't go through it line by line. Only the committees were able to go through all the different parts of the bill, the individual committees that wrote the bills. So yeah, not one senator got to read everything. But this is a time sink. Thus, Republicans will offer a unanimous consent request to revisit the state and foreign operations title of the omnibus so that we can fully address the concerns at hand. So what they're going to do is, at the same time as Democrats try to get a unanimous vote on $2,000 stimulus checks, Republicans are going to say, well, we want a unanimous vote on going through the line-by-line expenditures for our foreign affairs. In other words, you better get your apple juice drink because we might be watching Congress do a whole lot of nothing for the next 30 days. This is a letter from Donald Trump to the people who follow Donald Trump on his email list. Friend, I need you to know that I will always fight for you. I will never accept a bad deal, which is why I have sent back the COVID relief bill to Congress. This bill is a disgrace. It's called the COVID relief bill, but it has almost nothing to do with COVID, and it provides minimal relief to the American people. The bill contains hundreds of millions of dollars to be sent to foreign countries and allows stimulus checks for families of illegal aliens, giving them up to $1,800 each. This is by far more money than hardworking patriots like you are getting. In fact, this bill only provides American taxpayers with $600 in relief payment and is nowhere near enough money for small businesses, like our restaurants, that are in desperate need of our help. Isn't it terrible that somehow Congress found plenty of money for foreign countries, lobbyists, and special interest groups, while sending the bare minimum to the American people who need it? This pandemic was not your fault, it was China's fault. I'm calling on my most fierce and loyal supporters to take action and stand with me in demanding that Congress rework this bill. Can I count on your support? Please contribute $5 immediately to publicly stand with me and send a message to Congress that the American people deserve better. This is a Republican, obviously sent donor email from the Trump campaign. In the meantime, Donald Trump has left to Mar-a-Lago in Florida for Christmas and has issued numerous additional pardons. These additional pardons were characterized by Bill Sass. I'll go ahead and show you exactly what he just said. And the reason I'm showing this isn't to just show you some senator's opinion, it's to show you the cracks in the Republican Party forming that are anti-Trump. These cracks are kind of important to pay attention to because if enough Republicans split from the main Republican Party, one that is trying to have a united front, what is possible that we could get $2,000 stimulus checks done. I know that seems ironic, but what we need is Republicans to be willing to separate into different camps, one that might be against the $2,000 stimulus checks, but one that might be for it, and then get those that are for it to vote with Democrats and get the checks done. But the downside is a split Republican Party leads to potentially bad news in the Georgia January 5th runoff election, which could mean that Democrats take control of the Senate, and I would expect that Trump would become even more heated over the next 4 weeks. Here's what Senator Bill Sass had to say. U.S. Senator Bill Sass released the following statement after President Trump exercised his constitutional power to issue pardons to another tranche of felons like Manafort and Stone, who flagrantly and repeatedly violated the law and harmed Americans. This is rotten to the core. Now, that's Senator Bill Sass's opinion, which what's interesting is he is a Republican. That's the only reason I'm showing this. Let's keep moving on with the other updates. Now, remember what Kevin McCarthy has already told us. They will put up a united front. Until they have an actual deal that the entire Republican Party can agree on, they will not vote to permit the $2,000 stimulus checks. So far, the only sort of test the waters proposal that we have from Republicans that gives us any sort of difference of opinion here would be from Lindsey Graham, where Lindsey Graham mentioned that he is for the idea of increasing direct payments to $2,000 per person, but will only agree with this plan if Congress agrees to wind down Section 230 liability protections to stop websites like Twitter from being able to censor Donald Trump. All right, I'm done. I'm exhausted. Like this is it. The bottom line is it's not good. We're gonna be dealing with this unless some miracle happens and Mitch McConnell comes out, which we still haven't heard from Mitch. Some miracle comes out from Mitch and says, let's just do it. Let's do the $2,000. Whatever. We got the money for all of it. Let's just do all of it and be done with it. I think we're going to be talking about this stimulus package well into January. My thoughts, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you found it helpful, at least, in understanding what the heck is going on in the latest. If you did, consider subscribing, consider sharing the video, and we'll see you in the next video.